Today, I'm going to make sure you don't miss out on one of the biggest opportunities to make gains on Lost Ark yet, so that you can be amazing, but not as amazing as the Zerker Gang, who's been absolute legends in the comments and on Discord lately. And a big thank you to the patrons for keeping this train running. And don't worry, everything you need to succeed as a free-to-player or one of the players on this chart will be linked in the description, including a link to the only Glaivier guide you're ever going to need. And while you're down there, make sure you sub. Just don't forget. My name's Claysthetics, and we're running right into it. And don't forget to like the video. It's the only way YouTube knows I exist. And lighting off where this opportunity started, all we see is players dropping off like crazy. Oh my god, quitting Lost Ark because nerfs. Yeah, right, bud. As bad as Smilegate and AGS run their game, it's completely normal for Lost Ark when people find out it's just a daily grind fest. It always loses people, but it regenerates them just as quickly when an update comes out. But we're not here to talk about dooming. We're here to talk about how we're going to exploit the Doomer Flavor of the Month players and make a ton of gold off of them, because both of the Glaivier builds are absolutely fire, and they're going to be cooming so hard that their class finally came out that their brains are going to be off, and will be spending whatever they can to make their main as strong as possible. So I'm going to start with the big money gains from when Glaive Lancer comes out, and then we're going to hit the stuff that we need to be doing for consistent gains every day. So our biggest possible gain is going to be the 2 free 14-15 books we're going to get from Anguished Island. If you aren't 1450, Southburn will actually help you get there pretty fast. And considering it's coming out with this update, you're going to be able to head over to Anguished Island and pick up both of these books the second you get there, because these are going to be crazy high prices for both Glaive Lancer specs when they come out, and it's going to be insane profit. But the easiest way to make gold next patch is flipping T2 and T3 materials in the first few days of the Glaive Lancer launch, because nobody has self-control anymore. Because all the Lancer mains are super passionate about their class, and they've been waiting for this. But I do definitely recommend don't flavor of the month reroll on this game. It's actually way too expensive. Just play what you enjoy, even if it gets nerfed. It's not a big deal. Everything is top tier no matter what. They just bring stuff down from S plus to S tier. So the things you're going to be looking for are enhancing materials, and the T2 ones are life shard pouches, guardian stones, and Kaldar fusion materials. This one's pretty slept on. I think Kaldar fusion materials are going to pop. I don't think weapon stones are going to do super well because they never really did well in the first place in T2. And all the T3 mats are going to see a decent spike in price too, but I'm not going to rely on the graders because I'm assuming most people are going to probably run out of money at about like 1340 item level. But Lancer isn't the only reason all the Ona materials would spike. With the crazy event being gone suspiciously at the same time the Lancer comes out, everyone will have a lot less free materials to tap with, and they're going to need to start buying again. Well, let's hope that there's like a big Glaive Lancer event coming, and that's why they didn't want to overlap the crazy event and Lancer. That way we don't end up playing MasterCard Arena again with the whales. With that being said, this is a big opportunity to milk the Lancer whale, so take the chance while you can. And a bunch of people are still complaining about silver, but when Southburn comes out, you're going to actually be able to do a weekly dungeon, kind of like Anguish, which is daily, but this is weekly. It has the 1375 and the 1415 mode. It's going to give you access to a whole bunch of honing materials and a silver box. So Southburn is actually going to help us progress at a much better rate. And I know from my last Lost Ark Games video that a bunch of you told me you hate alts, but the reality is, if you don't want to be silver broke, you're going to need some alts. You don't really need too many. You can get away with just 2 chaos dungeons on at least 3 characters, and the higher the chaos dungeon, the more silver you get. And every time you get 3 cube tickets, just go do them. Pick up the weekly, and it's a massive boost of silver every single time. I really don't even play Lost Ark for more than an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours tops every day unless I'm PvPing, and I'm doing 4 characters. And while I'm doing it, I just catch up on random videos and stuff for the day. I honestly think the dungeons take less than 40 minutes for all the characters, and I only do bosses on my main and my main all. So realistically, in 1 hour, I'm done almost all my dailies, and then that extra hour spent doing whatever else I want on the game, and most of the time I just log out. So stop coping about how you don't have the time to do it and just do it. It's been on every MMO I've ever played. People just stand around in town talking nonsense, RPing that they're getting stuff done when they're just doing nothing. Just do it. Get it done and stop complaining. Because if you have an abundance of silver, you could afford easily the biggest gold flip that's going to be bank for basically the next couple of weeks, and that's flipping any gem into Glaivier gems. It's going to be crazy gold gains, and a lot of people tell you don't re-roll the gems, but if you're making 1,000,000 silver a day, you really don't care. But for our next step, and this is consistent money every week, we're not going to have to play the market or do anything crazy, and this is just repeatable. All you're going to have to do is go to each of these islands and collect tokens every day, be it from dailies, reputations, or just farming the island. And I really recommend you use an alt if you're actually going to do the dailies. So for our farmable islands, we're going to start with Goblin Island. You just run around and blast mobs or players. Its vendors like right in the middle of the island, and it has 5 green books and 2 class engraving books. You can get these and sell these every week. Slime Island gives you 5 green and 2 blue books per week, and all you have to do is farm some slimes. And Estella is 5 more green and 2 more blue books per week, and it has some pirate coins too. This one takes a little longer to farm, but I think you can finish a weekly vendor in less than an hour on all of these islands. With all three of these being farmable and Stella being the most mindless farm, you can easily pick some extra gold up this week. Now for the PvP island, Death's Hold is going to give you 5 green engravings and 2 blues per week. AFKing on this island, if you hate PvP, is like 2, I think, just for attending, so it's really not even that bad. And Monty Island is an event that's going to give you another 5 green engravings and 2 blues, but since this island is never up, it's not super reliable. But with Goblin Slime and Stella being weeklies, you can farm these out anytime you want, whenever you want, and make some big gains. And like I said, after this crazy event is over with all the books, they will eventually go back up in price. It's really consistent gold, and it isn't in the usual loot. Plus, you don't even need an alt for it. And if you're really feeling spicy, you can turn them all into tropos. And finally, I know it's a little annoying, but the adventure islands, make sure you're reading what each thing gives you. If you need silver, you can go for silver, but the gold islands give you 600 gold. And if it's the Medea Island or whatever, the PvP one, it gives you 700 for winning, 600 for losing. Make sure you're not missing those. That's just free gold. And I know a lot of people are struggling to make a lot of gains on this. Islands, weeklies, you can make all this stuff happen. You just have to be on top of it yourself. So with the crazy event ending, all these artificial low prices should disappear unless the Lancer event again is crazy, if they even have a Lancer event. But the engravings guaranteed will be pricey for Glaive Lancer, so make sure you go ahead and get ahead on that. And you can get them from a couple of the islands that I listed. And if you watch my Ultimate Glaivier guide, you'll get to see everything you need and which books are going to skyrocket. They're all going to be listed in text, guys, so that way you can stay ahead of the curve or get lost in the curves.